Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting straight to a health goal that, well, almost everyone seems to champion. You know the one, hitting 10,000 steps a day. Sounds so straightforward, right? Just walk more. An easy path to feeling good.
It does sound easy. But
Yeah.
what if we told you that for a really significant group of people, particularly older adults, seniors, this target, this seemingly harmless number, might actually be doing, well, more harm than good?
Seriously, harm? Like how?
Yeah, I mean, leading to serious injuries, huge medical bills, even potentially a loss of independence. It's quite stark.
Wow, okay, so that's a big claim against something so common.
It is, and it's a misconception that's really, really deeply ingrained. So our deep dive today is all about unraveling that myth, looking at the actual science behind, activity levels for older adults.
And hopefully equipping you, the listener, with a smarter, maybe safer way to stay active, whatever your age, really.
Exactly. That's the goal.
Right. Our mission, then, is pretty clear. Unpack this belief, give you the evidence, and help you, or maybe someone you care about, figure out fitness in a way that actually supports long-term health.
Because blindly chasing this number, this one single number, it can have really negative consequences.
Okay, so let's make this real. Let me introduce you to Margaret. She's 71, or was when this started. Vibrant woman, loved her garden, really active, wanted to stay that way.
Sounds like a lot of people we know.
Totally. So her daughter gives her a fitness tracker. And Margaret just dives right in, takes on the 10,000 step challenge with incredible enthusiasm.
Okay, I think I see where this might be going.
Yeah. For 6 months, she chased that goal religiously, often walking late, into the evening, pushing through aches and pains she dismissed as
Just getting older.
Exactly, just part of getting older.
And Margaret's story, it's a really powerful, unfortunately common cautionary tale. It echoes what we see a lot.
So what happened?
Well, that relentless pursuit, all those steps, it led directly to severe knee damage. Oh, no.
Yeah. It left her bedridden for 3 months. 3 agonizing months. And eventually she was facing, get this, $47,000 in medical bills.
$47,000 just to
basically get back the ability to climb her own stairs without help. And sadly, like I said, her story isn't unique. It's a trap so many older adults fall into, thinking they're doing the absolute best thing for their health.
That's the really troubling part. It makes you ask, okay, if 10,000 steps isn't this magic number for everyone, where did it even come from?
Yep.
And why is this specific target, this number, potentially so dangerous for people over 65?
Okay, so this is what's truly fascinating and honestly kind of alarming. The 10,000 step goal, it didn't come from some big medical study?
No.
Not at all. No rigorous scientific research behind it initially. Its origins are purely commercial.
Commercial, you mean like advertising?
Exactly. It was basically invented by a Japanese marketing company back in the 1960s. They were trying to sell pedometers.
You're kidding. Nope. The device was called Manpokai, and that translates literally to 10,000 steps meter.
Wow.
It's just a catchy name, a slogan. It was never intended as a universal health prescription.
So, wait. For decades, many of us, myself included sometimes, have been aiming for a number that was essentially a marketing gimmick.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's quite something. Okay. And for seniors, you're saying this number, this gimmick, can be actively dangerous. Why? What's happening physiologically?
Right. That's the core issue. See, when we think about it, our bodies, in our later years, they're just fundamentally different than when we were, say, 20 or 30.
Makes sense.
Think of it like maybe a classic car, a well-maintained vintage car. It still runs beautifully, takes you great places.
Okay.
But it needs different care, right? Different fuel, maybe different driving habits than some brand new sports car.
Right. You wouldn't redline it constantly.
Exactly. So for someone over 65, your joints, they've got decades of wear. Cartilage might be thinner. Ligaments may be less elastic. Bone density often decreases, which bumps up the risk of stress fractures, especially in feet or hips.
Weight-bearing areas.
Precisely. Muscle mass naturally declines to sarcopenia, it's called. That affects balance, coordination, and your body it takes longer to recover.
Yeah, I've noticed that recovery part.
We all do. And these aren't just minor aches we're talking about as risks. We see, osteoarthritis getting worse, a much higher risk of falls if muscles get overtired.
Which impacts balance.
Right. And that can lead to more serious cascading problems. But so much mainstream fitness advice just gives this one-size-fits-all number, like you're still 25.
Yeah.
That disconnect between the advice and the reality of an aging body, that's where the danger really lies.
That vintage car analogy really clicks. My own joints Definitely don't feel fresh off the assembly line anymore.
So, okay, if 10,000 steps isn't the answer, what does the actual science say? Is there an optimal number for older adults to get real health benefits? That is the crucial question, isn't it? And thankfully, yes, research gives us a much clearer picture. There was a major study, really groundbreaking, out of Harvard Medical School, led by Dr. Ayman Lee.
Okay.
They followed over 16,000 women, average age was 72, for about 4 years. And what they found, it basically reframes this whole walking goal thing.
So what was the number?
For women over 65, the sweet spot for daily steps, the point where they saw a significant drop in mortality risk, was actually around 4,400 steps per day.
4,400? Wait, that's less than half of 10,000?
Exactly, less than half.
So Margaret, and probably millions like her, were doing almost double the walking they needed, and potentially hurting themselves.
Precisely. The study showed that women walking about 4,400 steps daily had a striking 41% lower risk of dying compared to the least active women in the study.
Wow, 41% is huge.
It is. But here's the other critical piece. Increasing steps beyond about 7,500 per day, it provided no additional benefit in terms of mortality.
None. So walking more than 7,500 steps didn't make them live longer.
Correct. No additional mortality benefit. Think of it like a point of diminishing returns. Our bodies, especially as we age, they aren't built for just endless linear improvement from sheer volume.
Okay.
Beyond that 7,500 threshold, for many older adults, the accumulated stress on joints, the microtrauma, the longer recovery needed, it can start to outweigh the cardiovascular benefits.
So the balance shifts towards injury risk.
Exactly, without any further life-extending advantages. So people like Margaret were quite literally walking themselves into joint problems, potential falls, fractures, mobility issues, for absolutely no extra gain in longevity.
That is such vital information.
Yeah.
Because the fitness world often pushes this more is always better idea.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's especially tempting for seniors, right?
Uh,
Wanting to prove they're still strong,
Yeah.
still vital.
It really is seductive, but our bodies are clearly trying to tell us something different.
So we need to listen to our bodies, not just the tracker. What about the sort of the cultural side of this obsession with the number itself?
Yeah, that's a critical point. We absolutely need to start listening to our body's signals, not just the constant beeping and vibrating from our wrists.
Right.
This more is better mindset, amplified by all the trackers, it can create a really unhealthy focus on just the number instead of how you actually feel.
Yeah, you stop paying attention to yourself.
Exactly. You're focused on the metric, not the experience.
Yeah.
Imagine your joints are like the hinges on a beautiful antique door, served you well for decades, right?
Okay.
But they need gentle care now, mindful use. If you just keep slamming that door open and closed thousands of extra times every single day, eventually those hinges are going to give out.
And fixing antique hinges is way harder than just being careful with them.
Precisely. And the repair process, as Margaret found out the hard way, it's far more complicated, painful, and expensive than prevention ever would have been.
That analogy really hits home for the physical side. But thinking back to Margaret, being bedridden after being so active, that must have had effects beyond just her knee, right?
Right.
Mentally.
Oh, absolutely, it did. Her story actually gets worse before it gets better. During those 3 months, she couldn't really move.
Yeah.
Margaret experienced something that frankly terrifies many seniors.
Yeah.
A complete, profound loss of confidence in her own body.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It was devastating for her. She couldn't drive, couldn't tend her garden, which she loved, couldn't even walk to her mailbox without help.
From 10,000 steps to fearing the mailbox.
Exactly. The vibrant, independent woman chasing that step goal was suddenly genuinely afraid to take even 100 steps across her own house. The psychological toll, the fear of falling, the feeling of losing control, it's often just as damaging as the physical injury itself.
That's the cruelest irony, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying so hard to stay independent and vital, but the method itself actually speeds up the decline you fear.
It absolutely can. For someone who's always prided themselves on being strong, self-reliant, that realization is just crushing.
And the financial hit you mentioned, $47,000.
Right.
That's astounding.
It is. And that was for physical therapy, MRI scans, cortisone shots, eventually a partial knee replacement surgery, most of which, honestly, could likely have been avoided if she just understood her body needed a different approach, a more nuanced approach to fitness. But the real cost, even beyond the money, was the lost time, the loss of independence, the quality of life, during years that should have been really enjoyable for her, golden years.
So let's be clear. We are definitely not saying don't walk. Walking is fantastic.
Oh, absolutely not. Walking is incredibly beneficial.
The problem, as we've established, is the mindless pursuit of this arbitrary number.
Exactly, the mindless pursuit.
So what's the alternative? What's the smarter, safer way? What does smart walking actually look like for seniors?
Okay, so the secret, if you can call it that, isn't about hitting any single magic number. It's really about understanding your own body's unique needs.
Right.
And creating a routine that's sustainable, enjoyable, and works with your aging process, not against it. That's what we mean by smart walking.
Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity, consistency over intensity, and crucially, listening to your body's wisdom instead of just the demands of a device. And it's also about thinking more holistically about movement, not just steps.
Okay, let's unpack smart walking a bit more. What does that mean in practice? Like, what should someone over 65 actually do? Give us some actionable stuff.
Okay, absolutely. So instead of fixating on hitting 10,000 or even 7,500 steps, think about it this way. Aim for maybe 20 to 30 minutes of continuous walking at a comfortable pace. You know, the talk test, where you can walk and still hold a conversation without gasping for breath.
Yeah, I know that.
That's a great indicator of moderate intensity. That's usually enough. Also, think about where you walk. Focus on surfaces that are even and safe paved paths, maybe an indoor track, not necessarily super challenging, uneven terrain that increases fall risk significantly.
Good point. Safety first.
Definitely. But critically, it's not just walking. You need to integrate diverse movement. That means adding some strength training and some balance exercises to support your walking.
Okay, strength and balance. Does that mean hitting the gym, lifting heavy weights?
Not necessarily, especially not to start. We're talking simple, effective things. Body weight exercises like chair stands, just standing up and sitting down from a chair without using your hands, maybe 10 times. Yeah. Wall push-ups, even something as simple as standing on one leg for a bit while you brush your teeth.
Ah, okay. Things you can do at home.
Exactly. These make a huge difference in joint stability, muscle support for walking, and preventing falls. Also, consider cross-training, maybe swim or cycle a couple times a week, low-impact stuff.
Gives the joints a break, but still good cardio.
Perfect. But the most important thing really is pay attention. How does your body feel during the walk? How does it feel afterwards?
Listening.
If you've got persistent joint pain or unusual fatigue or any discomfort that doesn't just go away with a day's rest, that's your body sending a message. And that message is way more important than any number on your tracker.
That sounds so much more mindful and respectful of your body. It's about prevention, like you said, not pushing until you break and then recovering.
Exactly. Prevention, not reaction.
And I guess these principles, they're not just for the over 65s, are they? Younger listeners could probably benefit from this too.
Oh, absolutely. While we're focusing on seniors today because the risks are amplified, these ideas, listening to your body, diversifying movement, quality over quantity, they're universal principles.
Build good habits early.
Yes. For younger people, adopting this mindset now is incredibly powerful preventative medicine. You're building a foundation for sustainable fitness that will serve you well for decades, hopefully helping you avoid ever getting into a situation like Margaret's. It's about building a resilient body that can adapt, not treating it like a machine you push until it breaks down.
That's a great way to put it. Proactive. And Margaret's story, despite the tough parts, it does end on a hopeful note, right? It shows transformation is possible.
It really does. Her recovery, yeah, it took almost a year. But she learned. She learned to walk smart, not obsessively. And today, at 73, she says she's more active and confident than she ever was during those step counting days.
That's fantastic.
She gardens again, travels with her grandkids, takes daily walks. But now she listens to her body, not the device. She walks for pleasure, not pressure. And she found that, for her, 5,000 mindful, varied steps feel way better and keep her healthier than 10,000 desperate ones ever did.
That's a wonderful outcome. And it really highlights that insight from her physical therapist you mentioned earlier, that quote.
Ah, yes. Your body in your 70s is not a machine that needs to hit production quotas. It's a temple that deserves respect, care, and gentle challenges.
That's really key, isn't it?
It is, because maybe the most insidious part of this whole 10,000 step myth, it isn't just the physical damage it can cause, it's that all or nothing thinking it encourages.
Right. If I can't hit 10K, why bother?
Exactly. It makes people, especially seniors, feel like failures if they don't hit this arbitrary target. And that leads so many to just give up on walking, give up on movement altogether, rather than finding a middle ground that actually works for them.
That's the real tragedy, stopping completely because of a number that wasn't right anyway.
when even just a few thousand mindful steps could make such a huge difference to their health and well-being.
So, thinking about our listener now,
Mm.
what does this all mean for you? Especially if you are over 65, or maybe you care for someone who is.
We really want you to just take a moment, honestly assess your current approach to fitness, to walking.
Yeah, ask yourself, are you maybe ignoring some new aches and pains? Dismissing them?
Are you pushing through discomfort just to see that number climb on your tracker? Or maybe feeling guilty when you don't quite make it?
If any of that sounds familiar.
It's not too late. It really isn't. But
Yeah.
it is time to maybe revolutionize your approach. Think about it now before you end up, like Margaret, learning these lessons the hard way through injury and a long recovery.
We really encourage you to be proactive here. Maybe start by talking to your doctor. Ask about an activity goal that's right for you based on your health, your history.
That's a great first step. And maybe consider working with a physical therapist, especially one who specializes in senior fitness. They can help create a truly personalized routine, safe strength, balance, varied movement, all tailored just for you.
Remember, the focus really needs to shift. Consistency over intensity. The best exercise routine is the one you can actually stick with safely and hopefully joyfully for years, not one that burns you out or breaks you down after a few months.
Your future self will thank you profoundly, making this shift now while you still have the power to prevent injury instead of just recovering from it. That's huge.
Absolutely.
And maybe here's a final thought to carry with you. Your body. It has carried you through decades of life. Experiences, challenges, joys, adventures. It deserves an approach to fitness that actually honors that incredible history.
Not one that ignores it for a generic number.
Exactly. Find the joy in moving again. Walk for your health, for your happiness, not for the thumbs up from a device that honestly doesn't understand the first thing about your body's unique needs or your life's journey.
That therapist wisdom again. The body is a temple, not a machine.
That's the heart of it. Cultivate a relationship with your body built on respect for its decades of experience. Respect its triumphs, its adventures. Don't try to force it back into some arbitrary youthful mold. It deserves better than that.